Dasharath was the king of Ayodhya and he ruled efficiently. After several years of ruling, Dasharath thought, I have grown old, I have reached ripe age, and all my dreams have been fulfilled. The only wish is to see Ram as a new king. Ram had captivated each and everybody's heart with his noble behavior, gentleness, and righteousness. Dasharath took counsel with his ministers, advisors, and decided to make Ram the new king. Vishwamitra and the other elders started preparing for the coronation ceremony. Dasharath sent for Ram and told that he will be crowned the very next morning. The news cheered everyone in the palace. Kaikeyi too was very glad about Ram's coronation. She had a maid named Manthara who was very wicked. She came to Kaikeyi and poisoned her mind and roused deep feelings of jealousy against Ram, and completely misled by the hunchbacked Manthara, Kaikeyi forgot her love for Ram. She made up her mind to ask for 2 boons to the king, which he had granted her long ago. Kaikeyi went to the red chamber, removed all her ornaments, and lay down on the floor. When Dasharath came to know about this, he lovingly stroked Kaikeyi and asked her reason for her anger and displeasure. He promised her that all her wishes would be fulfilled. Feeling reassured by these words, Kaikeyi asked the king to swear on Ram, and she continued, Grant me 2 boons. Instead of Ram, make my son Bharat the king of Ayodhya, and send Ram to exile for 14 years. These cruel words stunned Dasharath, and he could not believe his ears. He pleaded Kaikeyi with folded hands to spare Ram, but the queen remained firm on her decision. Dasharath repeated, weeping, Let Bharat be the king, but do not exile Ram, the best among men. I shall die the moment I don't see him. Grant me only this prayer. But the cruel Kaikeyi didn't listen to the king. Kaikeyi sent for Ram. Ram stood stunned at the miserable sight of his father. He then asks, O mother, please tell me, why is my father so dejected? Have I displeased him? Has anybody else done something improper? Kaikeyi said without any sense of shame, the king is neither ill nor has anybody displeased him. But he dared not to say anything which is unpleasant to you. You should carry out what he has promised me. He promised to grant me 2 boons, but now he refuses to fulfill them. If you swear to fulfill these, I may tell you what they are. And Ram promised to fulfill his father's orders. Having got the desired assurance, the cruel queen says, The king has promised to make Bharat the king and to send you away into exile for 14 years. These brutal words did not pain the noble Ram at all. In a firm voice he replied, I will redeem my father's pledge and your boons will be fulfilled. I leave for Dandakvan this very day, dressed in bark and deer skin. Greatly delighted at these noble words of Ram, Kaikeyi abundantly reassured. However, she urged Ram's early departure. The king had heard all that had passed there, but being unable to speak anything, he cried faintly, O Ram, O miserable me. Ram gave Kaushalya the dreadful news, and she fell down senseless. Such was the impact of sudden shock. Ram raised her up, comforted her with many a word full of great wisdom, but she kept on wailing and weeping piteously. Kaushalya's grief made Lakshman all the more sore and angry. His anger burst out. The king is old and foolish to send God like Ram into exile. The king is to blame for his foolish indulgences and infatuation with Kaikeyi. But Ram stopped Lakshman from giving vent to his anger any more and said, I know your great love for me, Lakshman, but don't forget dharma. Doing one's duty is the highest good. It is my foremost duty to obey my father. I cannot disobey him. Still, Lakshman was not pacified. Ram again and again stressed the supremacy of all-powerful destiny and to see the hand of God himself in his exile. But Lakshman could not tolerate the idea of anyone but Ram being made the king. With Ram in exile, he had no use of dharma. Tears welling up his eyes, he said, If you go into exile, take me with you to Dhandak forest. Without you, life is meaningless. Ram had no other option, and therefore he allowed Lakshman to come along with him into exile. Kaushalya too wanted to accompany Ram into exile. Ram urged her to remain behind in Ayodhya, for her utmost duty was to look after Dasharath. Seeing Ram bent upon going into exile, Kaushalya took heart and invoked blessings for Ram, prayed fervently for him, and gave her consent. Taking leave of his mother, Ram goes to Sita and narrates the entire story. He tells, I have come to see you before I depart for Dhandak forest. Bear this all gladly. Never do anything displeasing to Bharat. He is kind and generous and would look after you. Janaki said with her eyes dimmed with tears and tongue faltering, O noble one, how can I live without you? I shall also come with you. Come what may, I am determined. And Ram replied, My beloved, the forest is full of many dangers and that life is so hard and uncomfortable. You are so tender and lovely and have no idea of troubles and worries. A forest life is full of danger. Dear Ram, said she, do you think separated from you I shall remain alive? No harm can come me when you are with me. Long ago, in my childhood, it was predicted that I would dwell in the forest. That prophecy must come true. I have been looking forward to it. My place is always in your feet. Please don't refuse me my rights and privileges. Ram could not refuse her arguments. Her begging was too forceful to deny her request. Seeing Sita's resolve, Ram had to agree to take her to the forest. It mightily pleased Sita and she gave away gold, gems and other costly presents to the Brahmins and others who deserved it. Lakshman too could not be persuaded to remain behind in Ayodhya. He went to see his mother and seek a permission to go to the forest. Sumitra was quite happy to allow him to go with Ram and Sita. Ram, along with Sita and Lakshman, went to his father, who lay sighing and lamenting in the gloom. They went to bid farewell to Dasharath. Dasharath could not bear this. In the next episode, we will see what happened to Dasharath after Ram, Lakshman and Sita went into exile for 14 years. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment.